All right, so this is constructing parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, on this one right here, you guys, you actually already know this one, okay? And so when it says to make the bisector of the segment, you're making the midpoint, okay? Do y'all remember that? Okay, so you make a big arc like this. Make sure your compass is more than halfway. And all you have to do is take your ruler and line up the two intersections like so. And what we used to do, we used to just make the midpoint like that, okay? What you need to do is you need to draw the whole thing now, and this is one way you can make a perpendicular line, some perpendicular lines. So remember, perpendicular, you learned a long time ago, those are lines that form a 90-degree angle, okay? Now, some of y'all already drew the long line, right? Raise your hand if you did draw the line always, like the long line, okay? Me, all I did was draw the midpoint, okay? But so now this is one way, see how that's perpendicular? It's a perfect right angle. This side's congruent to this side. So another name for this, guys, is a perpendicular bisector, okay? So that's the word that goes in that blank, okay? So that's a perpendicular bisector. Okay, this is another way to make a perpendicular, okay, from a given point, okay? It takes 3 arcs, okay? If you think you'll forget, remember, I grade based off of the arcs. So if you think you'll forget, write that down, put a little exclamation point, okay? One arc is going to go on the line and it's going to cross it twice because it has 2 important points that we need to use. On these notes, they called it B and C, okay? And then you make the 2 arcs below. So 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do that down at the bottom and practice that, making those 3 arcs to have perpendicular lines, okay? So over here, there's a dot. You want to place your compass on that dot, and you want to make your compass go a little bit past that line, okay? And then make an arc so it crosses it twice, okay? You don't have to do this strategy that I'm about to do right now, but I like to label the points, okay, with a bright color. So if you have a red pen, you can always do that. And when you color it red, it's kind of like, oh, I got to do something with those points, and it helps you remember it a little bit better. So what do I have to do with those points? I have to place it, my compass on there, okay? And it doesn't really matter the size of your compass, it just can't be too small. So I'm going to make an arc right here from that red dot, and then I'm going to come over here to this red dot, make another arc, and there's my 3 arcs, okay? That's all you have to do. So now you just need to connect that intersection through that red dot. And that's a perpendicular, okay? That's all you got to do. So again, if you think you'll forget, write down that you must have 3 arcs. Okay, that's a perfect right angle right there. Okay, and no, it's not necessarily in the middle. Okay. All right, this next one, this is the one that most children have a hard time with, okay? So pay attention on this one. This one is creating or constructing parallel lines, okay? So let me kind of walk you through the steps and then we'll do it together at the bottom. So on here, the first step is to draw transversal. So you start off with the point, and it says the first step is to draw a transversal, or what will be a transversal. It's not transversal yet. And then you're going to copy an angle, okay? In this case here, they're copying this red angle here. You see what they're doing here? So I taught you how to copy an angle way back at 1.2 and 1.3, okay? So that's the biggest struggle. One, a lot of students struggle with copying an angle, okay? Because they forget it, and then they already didn't know how to do it very well when I did teach it to them. So you might need to practice copying an angle. Anyways, we're copying this red angle up here in its corresponding position. Do you see how those are corresponding angles? Angle 1 and angle 2. Look, angle 1 and angle 2. Aren't those corresponding, y'all? What happens if you have corresponding angles? What kind of lines do you have? Parallel. That's the whole point of this, okay? Now, you can copy any set of corresponding angles. We're going to copy those right there. Okay, if you wanted to, you could copy angle 3 in the angle 4 spot. Could I have copied that one there? Yes, because the 3 and 4 are also corresponding. Okay, so anyways, once you copy that angle, how many arcs does it take to copy an angle? Y'all remember? Yep, see, I know that's why this is tough. It takes 3 arcs to copy an angle. Okay, so therefore it's going to take 3 arcs right here. So let's go practice it down at the bottom on that one down below. So if you already did it and you want to practice it again, you can draw another line lower, okay, if you want to copy it and practice again. Okay, so first things first, I want to make a point somewhere, okay? So I'm going to make a point right here off to the side. I don't want to put it too close. If you put it real close to it, y'all, you're working with teeny tiny arcs and it's going to be not a very pretty picture. So I'm going to label it A, way over here. Then what I'm going to do, which is what it said in step 1, is you want to make a transversal. Like so. Okay, so I'm going to draw a big line, which is going to be my transversal. And there it is. Okay, so how many pairs of corresponding angles are there in a situation like this? Nope. How many? Well, I said pairs, so I know what you meant. There's 4 pairs of corresponding angles. So I'm going to number them for you real quick. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is corresponding to 1 over here. 2 is going to be corresponding to something over here. 3 with this one and 4 with this one. So look at it, y'all. This is another reason why it gets a little challenging. You can pick whichever angle you want to copy, okay? So now what angle do you guys want to copy? 1, 2, 3, or 4? You tell me. 2? All right, we're going to copy 2. Okay, but again, you can copy any one you want. So here's how you copy an angle. The first step in copying an angle is making an arc on the angle that you want to copy, which is that one right there. We're copying angle 2. Okay. Anybody remember the next step? What do you do next? Exactly. You want to pretty much do it exactly the way you have the other one. And this one you want to kind of make a little bit longer just to be on the safe side. So do you see how they're in the same corresponding position? All right. This is a strategy I told you a long time ago that if you take your red pen or a highlighter or some color and you color those 2 points, those are very important. What do I got to do with those 2 green points? I got to measure them. Very good. So I'm going to take my compass now and measure those points there. Okay. Now, once I have that width, that's how wide this angle is. I'm measuring the opening of the angle. I want the other one to be just as the same exact size. So where do I place it over here? Do I place it on A? Where do I place it? Very good. Look, think about it. Isn't it in the same exact spot that we're going? That's what we need to do. So I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to make an arc. That's it. I have my 3 arcs, y'all. Now I just need to do one last thing, and that's make the parallel line. What do you think you're going to connect? A and that intersection point right there. So I'm going to move my ruler. So now if you're not placing the compass in the right spots, then your lines may not look parallel. All right, here we go. So I'm going to connect those 2 and let's see how they look. Mine look pretty close to being parallel, look pretty good, okay? But a lot of times, a lot of kids do not have them looking parallel If you are off by a smidgen, like you don't place your compass like one little piece off, one little teeny tiny little smidgen, I like to call it, then it's not going to be looking like they're parallel. Okay, so you got to be real careful on how you construct and how you place it. So you can see I copied angle 2. What do we usually call these? We usually call these over here 5, 6, 7, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. So see, I copied angle 2 right here in its corresponding position. But do you see how you can copy any angle? If you wanted to copy angle 1, well, you're going to copy it in the 5 spot. If you wanted to copy 3, you're going to copy it in the 7 spot. Do y'all get that, guys? Okay, that's how you make parallel lines. If you think you'll forget, write down, this takes 3 arcs. Okay? Okay, so let's carry on. I'm going to skip these 2 actually. Okay, well, actually, I'm going to do them really, really fast. But this is just extra practice when you are doing the same constructions that we just did. So you make an arc, so it crosses it twice. You place it there. Make an arc above, place it on this point right here. Make an arc above. It's okay if it goes into the wording. Place it and line it up there. And there's your perpendicular right there. See how easy that is? That's a perfect perpendicular line, okay? Here's the parallel, so watch me again, okay? This is good practice. I'm going to pick a point somewhere way over here. I don't like to put it close to that line. Why? Because it is going to make it messy, okay? And then I make a transversal. Make sure it goes through that point. And then I'm going to copy an angle in its corresponding position. Angle 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? We just copied angle 2 a second ago, right? So I'm going to show you that, look, I can copy a different one, okay? So I'm going to copy angle 4, because I know a lot of y'all may not want to do that one. But you're going to see 4 is going to be just as easy. So I make an arc here. I come over here. I make that same arc. Okay, then I want to measure how wide the angle is. I want to measure the opening of the angle. So I place it here. Go measure from green point to green point. And then I'm going to place it not on the blue dot, but on this intersection point right there. And I make that arc there. All right, and then now I just have to connect that intersection with that one. You're always going to make sure you're going perfectly. Sometimes it's hard to get through that intersection point. All right, that looks good. Make the lines, and they look pretty parallel to me. So there's my 3 arcs. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. All right, here's the part that a lot of you guys missed, the altitude of a triangle. An altitude is a perpendicular segment, which is from a vertex, and it goes to the opposite side of the triangle. Okay, so everybody write that down. It's a perpendicular segment that comes from a vertex, and it's going to be going to the opposite side of the triangle. So here's what I suggest, okay, if you're not sure what this is going to look like. It's always good to have a little sketch off to the side, okay? So I'm going to construct an obtuse triangle, and let's make it scaling, okay? Because if we make it isosceles, we get a little, so I'm going to just add the word scaling to that. So it's going to be obtuse scaling, and then I'm going to make an altitude from it. So make a little sketch over here off to the right. So scaling, I'm going to make this one longer. And there we go. Does that look like a scaling obtuse triangle? Yes. Now, what is an altitude? An altitude comes from a vertex and it's going to be perpendicular to the opposite side. So I'm going to make that right there. You see that little blue line or segment, I should call it? That's what we call an altitude. That's it. Okay, so let's construct it together. Okay, so let me get my ruler. I'm going to place it here. Whoopsie. I'm going to make a small segment here, and then I'm going to make a longer segment over here so that way it comes out scalene. That looks good. And then now I just need to connect these two endpoints. And there I go. I have an obtuse scalene triangle. So now I'm going to make a perpendicular that comes from this obtuse angle, which I'm going to name the obtuse angle A. So I want it to come from A. So if I'm making a perpendicular, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to place my compass at point A. How big do I make my compass, y'all? Go past that line just a little bit, okay? Make an arc. Make sure it crosses it twice. If you want to label them with some color, you can. You don't have to. And then now I'm going to place it here on that blue point. I'm going to make an arc outside of the triangle. Place it on the other blue point. Make an arc outside there. And now I'm going to connect point A to that intersection point. And you want to make sure you're right on the vertex. And you want to make sure your ruler is going perfectly through that intersection point. And so now I'm just going to draw this segment right there, kind of like I did on my sketch. That's the whole point of the sketch. And so that should be a perfect right angle. And that right there is what you call an altitude. Okay, you dealt with an altitude before in middle school. It's just the height of the triangle. Okay, some of you are probably like, no, that's not the height. The height is somewhere out here. Well, guess what? That's a different altitude. Okay, out here. Okay. All right, so make sure you know how to construct an altitude. It's just nothing but a perpendicular that comes from an angle and it goes to the opposite side to make a perfect right angle. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is our last two problems. What does complement mean? That's right, there are two angles that add up to be 90. So angle B and what other angle is going to add up to 90? Okay, this is not a protractor moment. You do not get your protractor. You're going to construct a 90-degree angle. Okay, now there's two ways you can do this. You can do it separately down here at the bottom, like down here, but I'm going to show you a new way. So you're going to take your compass and your ruler, and the first thing you want to do is extend one of the sides. Okay, so I'm going to just extend this one here, like that. See how I just extended that side? So you have a flat line right there. Okay, and you want to make sure you're always right on the same line. Okay, and then everybody place a red dot at point B. If I make a perpendicular through that red dot, then I'm done. That's it. That's all I got to do. Okay, so you're going to take your compass and you're going to place it at point B. And you want to open up your compass so that it's not too big, but to where it's just big enough to cross that horizontal line twice, okay? And you can make it coming from a point on the line, okay? I didn't do that earlier. The point was off the line, but it's still the same process, guys. So then I have 2 points that I'm about to color in blue right now, that point and that point, okay? And then I want to place my compass on those points, okay? And you can either make an arc above or below. I'm gonna go below this time so you can see how it's still the same thing. Usually I make it on the opposite side. But I'm gonna place it here. And there's my 3 arcs. So when I connect when I connect that intersection point through point B, all I need to draw is that segment right there, okay? If you want to, you can connect it through there, but does everybody see? And I'm gonna label this, this is angle B, and I'm gonna call this one angle C. What does angle B plus angle C equal, guys? 90, and that's what complement is. And so let's write that here off to the side. Angle B, the measure, plus the measure of angle C equals 90. That's it. Okay. Now, can you do this a different way? Absolutely. If you want to make a separate set of perpendicular lines not on that angle, then you can do that, but then you'll have to copy angle B at the right angle. Everybody get that? Okay, so last one. How do I make a square? Okay, well, what's one of the main properties of a square, y'all? 4 sides, they're equal. And the other main property? All angles equal how much? 90, very good. So that's actually what I'm gonna start off with. I'm gonna start off with a 90-degree angle. So I go like this. I'm going to place a point, just a random point that I want to be the corner of my square, which by the way, let's name our square ABCD. Okay, you can name it whatever you want, but that's gonna be my point A, okay? So, and you can start this lots of different ways. If you wanna make a perpendicular line a different way, you can. I'm just making it this way, okay? And it's actually gonna be similar to what I just did a second ago. I'm gonna make a big arc like this. And I'm going to make those 2 blue points so I can make my intersection down below. And again, you can make the intersection point above the line. It doesn't matter, just as long as you have it above or below. All right, so now I'm going to line those up. And so that way I start off my square with one of the corners, one of the vertices. Okay, and there we go. So then now I have a corner of my square. Now, what do all the sides need to be? They have to be equal, and they said it has to be as big as side Z. So guess what I need to do next? I need to measure that segment there. So I'm measuring the segment. Now I'm going to come place it on point A, and I must make an arc over here. Okay, so that's going to be one of my other vertices. Well, don't you think it has to come over here as well? So I'm going to make an arc right there. So guess what I have? I have, this is going to be my point B. C is going to be somewhere in that corner, and that means this one's going to be D. So there's my square ABCD so far. I just need one last point, okay? And this point, there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to show you the somewhat quicker way. So I still have my measure of the side of the square in there, right? So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come place it over here at B, and guess what I'm going to make? I'm going to make an arc up there. Okay, now I'm not done yet though, because some people stop there and they go, oh, I'll just draw a line going perfectly straight up. Nope, you can't do that. Where do I have to place my compass now, y'all? Very good, at D. So I'm going to place it at D, and then I'm going to make an arc there. Now that is exactly where point C is going to be. So I'm going to move that a little closer. Now I can draw my last 2 sides of my square. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to draw this side, and then I'm going to turn it this way and connect D to C. And there's my square. So is there other ways to construct this, guys? Absolutely. If you wanted to make 2 perpendiculars at A and B, you could do that too, where you make perpendiculars going straight up, okay? And that's how you create the square.